Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. This is the Den, episode number 5, our post-game reactions to our week 2 win versus the Buffalo Bills. I am Steve, aka Bronx, and I'm joined by
Matt, aka Nemo, third setup in 3 days or 3 episodes, but it doesn't matter. We're back home, just in a different spot of the house. We're still balling, and yeah, Bears get a fucking mega win over the Buffalo Bills. So you love to see that.
a thrashing, a 33-6 thrashing by our Chicago Bears. Thrashing.
Okay.
Yeah, immediate takes. Caleb versus Josh Allen. They both got the call to start today. Well, not today. Well, whatever. Saturday. They got the call to start. Caleb goes 4 for 7 for 95 yards with a 101.8 passer rating. Josh Allen was only in for one or two series.
Yeah.
Goes 2 for 3, 22 yards with an 88.2 rating. Overall, my first initial thoughts are: I remember in the last podcast we talked about the offensive line and how I was scared to actually throw Caleb out if we had sort of a makeshift offensive line, and three starters were in. Three starters were in. The line was as follows: Braxton Jones started. We're going from left to right. Braxton Jones was the left tackle, then Tevin Jenkins, Coleman Shelton at center, Bates at right guard, and Darnell Wright at right tackle. From the looks of it, this looks like it could be our week one, our opening day starting offensive line with Nate Davis now being labeled week to week with soft tissue issues. Um, yeah, overall, I thought he looked pretty comfortable. Thought he had a really good command of the offense early, and like I said before, the offense definitely had a flow to it. Right, it had a flow that we've been looking for, something we haven't had with the Getsy offense in years past.
Mhm.
And I mean, we got to see Caleb on the move. We got to see him extend the play. We got to see him in the bootlegs. We got to see him stand in the pocket, move up in the pocket, find DJ Moore, and convert on the third and whatever it was for a first down early in the game. But I think he's every bit as advertised. Thoughts?
No, yeah, I actually thought he played really well. Like we were talking, we weren't sure if he was going to get in, like you said about the line,
Mm-hmm.
but I was pretty confident he was going to get in simply for the fact that most starters are going to get in gate first preseason game, right? It's on.
Mm-hmm.
It is just unfortunate, not unfortunate, but we didn't see Caleb last game because that's really not a true preseason game, right? You
Yeah.
don't want him going into a game that really, only two teams are playing in, right? Nobody else was playing that day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought he looked really good. He looked comfortable, like you said. He bounced back, his first play in the game, like we saw, and it did end up being that holding, but he had to scramble away, move around in the pocket. So I thought, he looked like you have in here, he looked comfortable, and I think the O line did all right. But like you said, Kelly was the star of the show. He was able to move around, get out of the pocket, and we saw that throw on the run, or at least that sort of kind of moving on the pivot throw that Eberflus was talking about in that one press conference that he just said Caleb is absolutely phenomenal at. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of Caleb, honestly, really, and we'll get to how everyone else played, but for the first series that we've ever seen him in, first three series, I thought he played exceptionally well. Looking at Cole Komet, looking at you, buddy. Caleb could have at least been 5 for 7.
Yeah. 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 I mean, they dropped one, hit him right in the hands.
Yeah.
And then the other two were a couple throwaways, which makes sense. One, he actually had a chance with Dunze in the back corner of the end zone. If he kind of, it looked to me as a throwaway. People were saying he was actually trying to hit a Dunze. I don't think he was. It looked like it was just a throwaway in the back of the end zone. But he did have a Dunze open in the back corner. But yeah, he just looked phenomenal. The rushing attack looked great. Uh, your player to watch from week one,
Ian Wheeler,
uh,
finally, baby.
Ian Wheeler looked the party. Looked like he belonged People say it's the second, third stringers out there. I don't care. When you average 8.3 yards per carry and you score not once, but twice, and one of them was like a 20-yard scamper to get in the end zone. Uh, yeah, I think he's going to make this team, man. I really do. But one that really surprised me, and I'm sure it probably surprised you too, was seeing Velus Jones back there lined up as a running back. I mean, he went 6 carries for 34 yards with averaging 5.7, and did score a touchdown as well. So I thought that was kind of crazy to see him back there. I don't know if they're just trying him out. Maybe they're just trying to throw different looks at teams. Like, hey, he's an option back there. Um, I don't know that I want to see him back there all the time. Uh, but especially with the emergence of Wheeler, I don't want to see him back there. I'd rather you give those carries to a running back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Khalil Herbert was Khalil Herbert. He busted a couple big runs. He got stuffed on a few, so that sort of brought his yards per carry down. You forget 2 years ago, Khalil Herbert led the National Football League with 5.7 yards per carry when he was. I don't know if that was his rookie year or his second year, but 2 years ago he led the NFL in rushing yards per carry at 5.7, which is kind of crazy. And then Swift did Swift things. If he doesn't trip over his own feet, he probably scores a touchdown
Yeah.
from that incredible screen, no look sort of dump by Caleb. Found found Swift for
42 yards.
yeah, that was dare I say Patrick Mahomes esque.
Okay. Ins- insane. I'm a Bears fan, but that's taking it a little far. Insane. It was a good throw.
I said it was
I've seen
Mahomes
Patrick Mahomes do
esque.
that, but it's about 5 times as far. But still impressive.
That's fair to say. That's fair to say. But yeah, the rushing attack looked incredible. Offensive side of the ball did what they were supposed to do. Um, but man, our defense came to play. They dominated from the opening get go. I think Buffalo kicked a field goal in the second and then a third, and that was their 6 points. Two field goals in the second and the third, and the defense literally shut them down. One of the opening plays, Dominique Robinson, who we had criticized, right?
Mhm.
We had said he needed to step up to try and earn that starting spot. Blew up a play for a TFL, tackle for loss, a running play, and he just blew through the blew through the tackle, took on the pulling guard, and still makes the play. Yeah, they didn't allow a single touchdown, 8 sacks. I mean, it was incredible. I don't know if you want to rattle off some of this the stats from the
Yeah, I got
defense.
you. So our sacks break down to so Austin Booker, I don't know if you said, but he had 2.5, 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. How do you say this guy's name? You can help me here. Help me out here.
And it's funny because I was
John
watching the NFL
Bonga
Network.
Demia Dingbia.
Man,
Amen.
they butchered his name on the Bills side. Uh,
Agbong Denima? Demnigma?
it is Agbong Bamiga.
He had 8 tackles with 1 sack.
Yep.
Daniel Hardy, 2.5 sacks. Uh, Khalid Kareem,
Yep.
1 sack. And then Zach Pickens with 1 sack as well. And then Micah Bakersfield had a pick 6.
He did have a pick six, and then it was they put up some stat that said it was like 144 day or like 200, some ridiculous number
Mhm.
since the last time Micah scored a touchdown. But the defense just, I mean, each drive the Buffalo quarterbacks were running for their lives. I don't know if that's our defensive line or if that's their lack of an offensive line, but we just played. The defense just looked absolutely incredible. Um, but yeah, Tory Taylor.
Finally got out my favorite draft pick the Chicago Bears have ever drafted.
You
I
know,
don't know who
it's
Taylor
funny because
Williams
there's
is.
there's so much talk about Tory Taylor and how good he could be and how good he's gonna be, and we finally got a taste of it. I mean, 2 punts, he averaged 48 yards per punt. Both of them were inside of the 20, actually inside of the 10, 20, inside of the 20. One of them was picked up at the 5 and returned like 15 yards. And then the second punt was down inside like the 15-yard line. Um, and it looked like he barely even touched the thing.
Yeah, dude, he's a big dude. If you ever watch his interviews, like he's a big dude, man. It's insane. He's a big guy, so no wonder he's able to. I mean, he's not like big, like he's not like Zion, but he's a tall dude, bro. I saw Zion in person, bro. He
Yeah.
is massive, and that was back when So basically, not to ramble, but a little anecdote here. I was
Ah,
like,
Rambo away.
I used to be like Lonzo Ball. Like, he used to love Lonzo Ball for like no particular
Hmm.
reason. And now my parents thought he was like my favorite player, which he wasn't. I just really like because I he had that funny shot, and he was from the Ball family or whatever. And they got me his Pelicans jersey. And well, this follows the theme that every time I get a jersey, I swear to God they get traded. I got a Porzingis jersey. He got traded literally like the next week. I got the Lonzo Ball jersey. He gets traded. Like, it just happened a lot of times. I got a Gronk jersey one time. He retired. Like, bruh, I can't escape it. So like they're like, you love Lonzo Ball so much. They got me Bulls tickets like 12 rows back or something, bro. Something insane. Like, amazing
Nice.
tickets to go see him against the Pelicans. And I was tweaking because Zion had gotten hurt like that November, and it was like
Hmm.
February, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, he's not gonna play. And it worked out just that it was like his fourth game back when I went to go see him, dude. He is huge, bro. Well, I don't know. Apparently, he's gotten a little bit bigger. I don't know. That's just rumors. But back then, bro, he was a big fucking dude. So like, it's crazy sometimes. Like any sport specifically, like when you go and see these guys, like they are
Hmm.
like peak human performance. Like, it's crazy to see. Really, it is.
Hmm.
Just speaking of like, oh, I'm saying he's a big dude. There's guys in the NFL that are bigger than him, but like, you got to remember,
For a,
bro, this is a
for a punter,
big dude. Yeah,
relative to his
kick,
position, I mean, he's
yeah.
a punter and he's like six. What is he? 6'4", 2 something.
Uh, yeah, 6'4".
That's
He's
massive
he's big,
punter.
bro. He's big.
Um, but yeah, I mean, quiet on the receiver front. I mean, to be honest, we got up early and handed the ball off most of the time. The receivers were kind of quiet. DJ got in there, a couple receptions. Dante Pettis had a reception for
He
like
had a
40
nice
plus
reception.
yards. Um, Keenan Allen wasn't targeted, although he did play. Rome didn't come up with any catches, so
I don't.
kind of
Did
quiet.
he play at all or no? I mean, he's
Rome did
definitely
play.
lined
Yeah,
up at least once. Yeah.
Rome was out there for the first two drives for sure.
Colin
Uh,
Johnson, no receptions, unfortunately. We're hoping for a
I
big
don't
game
even
out of
think he
him.
got a target, but to be honest, he was on the field in the
Mm-mm.
third
He
and
didn't.
fourth quarter when we're basically handing the ball off. We were up,
Yeah.
so I mean, at that point, it was over. Why would you even throw it?
Hmm.
Um, Austin Reed got in the game, played pretty well. I think he only had to throw the ball 4 times, but he was 2 for 4. Uh, Rippon played a little bit. I think Bajan went through it the most. I think it was like 5 for 8. Um, but yeah, Austin Reed, I don't know that he makes the team, but he's a promising prospect. Like, he's a guy that you can keep on the practice squad for sure.
Hmm.
And just sort of to see him to see him sort of grow and get some reps on the practice squad will be good for him. Maybe he's a piece if you don't want to re-sign Bajan. I don't think he. I mean, I think Reed could develop into a career backup, but we'll see. Receivers quiet. Uh, Tory Taylor punts. But overall, just a. I mean, it was. What more do we really want to say about this game? I mean, it was literally a beating from start to finish.
Yeah, it was not a. It was very lopsided, and I think it boils down to like, obviously that's not what we're gonna see if that was a regular season game. But I think it
Hmm.
boils down to the fact that I was pleasantly surprised that I thought the Bears did what I suggested when I talked about at the end of our last episode. They went out, they made some design plays, they purposely wanted to get people some looks, and I think they didn't take a huge step, but they took like a tiny step off the beaten path of like vanilla game plans, hand it off screen, throw, pull out all your starters, throw in, third, fourth stringers, and let them just go crazy to try to win a spot. And I think the Bears really, obviously, not the teams don't put thought into this, but I think the Bears really did put thought into like, how can we involve these, lower second, third stringers and have them elevate their game? Right. That's what Eberflus has been
Hmm.
talking a lot
Hmm.
about trying to
Level
get
up.
this exactly elevate their game, level up to the next level. Because right, if the guy in front of you gets hurt and you're the second string, they want you to become the best second string in the league. So when you go and take that guy's place, nobody notices that anything happened. And I think truly the way they're preparing for these games is very promising, in my opinion. That for the regular season is to come in terms of how they're going to attack games and how they're going to. Right, it's preseason, but we definitely did not take our foot off the gas at all the whole
Right.
game. So that's definitely a
Right.
good mentality to see.
Right. Moving on, our players to watch from the pregame. Mine was Dante Pettis. He, I want to say, was targeted 3 times. One catch, 34 yards. Um, I mean, I don't think he even had the opportunity to return a punt, which is kind of crazy to think because that was maybe they just didn't give him the option. They didn't want him to do it. But they
Yeah.
threw Josh Blackwell, who returned 2 of the punts, and Greg Stroman.
Mhm.
So those are two basically corners fighting for roster spots and trying to possibly add to their repertoire, being able to return kicks or punts. Velus Jones was the only one that returned a kick for the Bears. Um, but yeah, Pettis really, I don't know. I don't think he's going to make this
You don't think
squad,
he's going to make it?
especially no. Um, and I think we mentioned Colin Johnson a little bit last. Was that your
Yeah,
player to
well,
watch?
so I guess moving on kind of here. I had two players to watch, right? My player that I wanted to watch was I think I said Tyson Bagent, if I'm not totally mistaken. I don't know if I have it
Hmm.
written down. I think that's what I said, but that I wanted to see him get more reps than he did. But my off the cuff one was Colin Johnson because I wanted to see him
Hmm.
repeat that performance.
Right.
But I guess overlooking the game now, Bajent did play and he played well, right? 5 for 8, 47 yards. But I think kind of what you said, by the time he got in there, I mean, he was in there before, but they let all four of these QBs have at least one snap, one throw.
Hmm.
So, I think by the time we got in there, it was kind of like, we're kind of kicking the shit out of these guys. Let's try to
Hmm.
throw it, stop people from, getting blown up or really hurt. So I think he played well, but once again, kind of a disappointing week from my pick in terms of like no flashy plays. Kind of like I was saying last week, what you expect from a dude who I'm pretty sure is going to be their true QB2, right? If
Yeah.
Page is their QB2, they don't want him getting hurt any more than they want Caleb getting hurt.
Right.
So um, he played well, but kind of just like a meh game because he's just out there to fill some slots. And then Colin Johnson, like you said, didn't get any targets all game. So both of
No.
my guys ended up being kind of duds today. I mean, so did yours a little bit, but at least you got a nice stat line: one reception for 34 yards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will say, just sort of going on a bit of a rant, or not a rant, off topic was is just the emergence of the tight ends in this offensive game, like in this offensive scheme in general. It's going to be interesting to see if they keep a fourth tight end, and if they do, who it's going to be, because you have arguments for Steven Carlson, who had 3 receptions for 18 yards, albeit it was only 18 yards, but that's three solid receptions. You had Tommy Sweeney, who showed out in the Hall of Fame game, um, who is an NFL vet. He had 2 catches for 29 yards, with one of those being a 25-yard reception. So, and then you have Brendan Bates also. one catch for 16 yards, and then obviously Cole Kmet caught that ball along the sideline
Yeah.
where Caleb was rolling out and threw an absolute dot, but then drops the very next pass. That's all right. But yeah, just sort of the emergence of the tight ends is I think um, going to be an added element to this offense because if you get Cole Kmet and Everett going, and then you have a guy like Mercedes Lewis who's a steady vet, do they add a fourth tight end? Um, who knows? I would like to see Sweeney make the team just because I feel like he's proven his value to the team and to the roster. I mean, Rippon loves the guy.
Hmm.
So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they do go that route. I would like to see them go that route and keep a fourth tight end, but there's limited spots on this roster. Let's be very
Yeah.
serious, very
Yeah.
honest. Like that, I don't know that they're going to keep a fourth tight end, but I think that they should, and I think Sweeney is definitely in the lead for that last spot.
And I hate using this as an example because I think it's a real cliche, and truly we haven't seen anything like it. And from what I can tell, I don't think we will. Is tight ends can work because Travis Kelsey. I don't hate
He's-
Travis Kelsey. I don't hate, whatever they're doing over there in Kansas City, but truly, he is a one of a kind. He is like
Mhm.
the wide receiver tight end hybrid. He's a big
Yes.
dude, big enough that he can get out there and win those scrambles for those catches in the air, get above, secondary pieces. But he's not so big that he's like a Gronk or, someone that's trucking people. Yeah, he can, but he's like that perfect middle hybrid. And, you know, Cole Kmet showed some flashes of that last year with just how much Justin feels like him. I'm not saying he's anywhere near Jason Kelsey or
Travis. Yep.
why did I see Jason? What's his brother's name?
Jason.
See, I'm a smart guy. Anyways, not not saying that he's anywhere near Travis Kelsey. Um, but that is an interesting thing that has been proven to work. And if you can, get someone to that point, that would be a really good offensive piece. And it's a matter of how do the Bears want to use their tight ends, right? Because the wide receivers are so stacked downfield. I wouldn't be surprised if this year we saw a lot more of the tight end game just being running flats or running outs or guys that you can go to get those surefire yards when you're
Yeah.
A1 targets downfield aren't open. That's what I wouldn't be surprised if they saw or if we saw this year. But yeah, I'd love to start developing a identity for this tight end receiving core because it went from being like nothing to then last year Cole Kmet was kind of like a big thing for this offense to then this year we have so many more pieces and it's like I hope he doesn't get just swept under the carpet or something like that. So I'm interested to
Yeah,
see what they do with that tight end room.
I think when DJ was doubled, like Cole was field safety blanket all day long. And he's just shown that he's reliable. I mean, he had one drop, but it's preseason. Who really gives? Who really cares?
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, but yeah, overall 33-6. Not much else we really need to talk about.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're moving on to Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks. Um, Episode 1 was released on Tuesday. I was in California. I was I made it a point that no matter what we were doing, we literally pulled it up on my son's iPad, and me, Dom, and Gio were circling that thing, watching every minute of Hard Knocks. I just thought it was an awesome display for the first time that Bears had Hard Knocks. You finally are starting to see some of the personalities in that locker room. Uh, Obviously, episode 1 was mainly focused and surrounded and talk Caleb Williams. That's basically what the episode was about. It showed a lot of his ups and mostly his downs during camp. Um, which is kind of cool to see because obviously the Bears push out all his great plays that happens during
Hmm.
training camp. So to see some of his picks that he threw and to just see him like wanting to be perfect, it's kind of crazy to see. Nick Saban made a damn appearance in the show.
Yeah.
And sort of the quote that he was talking to Eberflus about was just the fact that he feels that the expectations are what kills young quarterbacks' careers. And so, my sort of question I pose to you and pose in general is, as Bears fans, should we taper our expectations of Caleb and what we want out of him his rookie season?
Uh-huh. And I think so. I was just kind of reading something about the
Yeah, you're
episode
okay.
that we're going to talk about. Um, taper, I don't think is the right word. I don't think taper is the right word, but I think it's kind of like a curb your enthusiasm. It's like people say this guy could be the next Tom Brady, or this guy could be the next
Mhm,
Patrick Mahomes, or this guy could be the next Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round, didn't play until Drew Bledsoe got blown up and his spleen exploded.
mhm,
Okay. Patrick Mahomes sat on the bench for 2 years and Aaron Rodgers the same. I think people, kind of get blinded by the fact that they say these people have comparisons to this person and that person, and forget the fact that it is a learning curve. Okay. It's a process. It's not a 1 year thing. And like we talked about in earlier episodes, we are set up for the long haul. We have a core
yeah.
for many years. And I
Mhm,
think as Bears fans, we shouldn't curb our expectations of Caleb, but we should boost our expectations of the future in terms of like, I don't think we should be like, okay, he's going to play bad, but I think we have to curb our enthusiasm on, okay, he's going to play like a normal quarterback in the NFL for his first year, right?
yeah.
Even CJ Stroud, right, last year had a great season, one of the best rookie seasons of all time, still wasn't the best season in the NFL. Just goes to show you, even the best, flashiest, youngest player in the league still didn't have the best season in the whole league. Not like he should, not like he was supposed to, not to put
Mhm,
down what he did, but it is a learning curve, and these guys have stuff that they need to learn, and that happens with time. So I don't think it's a matter of being like, oh, we should expect less out of him. It's a matter of understanding when he has faults, and the fact that these greats had honestly less adversity than Caleb did. Now that's a crazy thing to say. I agree. I can't believe, I don't know why I just said it, but I'm getting at the fact that not less adversity, but the fact that guys like Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, they did have time to settle in, and we're expecting Caleb to come into a system, learn it, play it, and win, and Bears fans will be happy with nothing less. I think that's honestly more outrageous than me saying that Caleb's facing more adversity than Tom Brady.
No, that's an awesome way. It's an awesome way to put it. Like, as Bears fans, look, this is the we had the number one overall pick for the first time since 1940. I think it's 1947, and it's Caleb Williams. It's the one of the most uh, highly sort of, I don't want to say decorated,
Anticipated? Oh, not
anticipated
decorated. Oh.
quarterbacks. Like, he is a Heisman winner, but he didn't really win in college. Yes, it's a team sport, and you
He always
have
claimed they would.
yeah, like he didn't really win anything too crazy in college besides the Heisman. Like, it is really truly a team sport, and like the fact that we have him number one overall, we had never had a franchise quarterback. um like, I think fans may push their expectations. Like, I've already hearing the rumblings of Super Bowl. Like, all right, come on, take it back a level. um I've listened to some of the post game conferences, or not post game, just the press conferences in general, and like Keenan Allen's getting on there and he's like, we don't play to make it to the first round of the playoffs. We play for Super Bowls.
Mhm.
So when you hear that, like, fans are just instantly driving it. Like, oh, if he thinks we're going to the Super Bowl, this is Super Bowl. Caleb's going to lead us to the Super Bowl. He may very well, but let's be realistic about our expectations for him moving forward, which makes this episode 2 even more exciting to see if they venture into other players. Um, like I'd like to see a lot more DJ Moore, a lot more of the defensive side of the ball. Um, but yeah, it was all about Caleb. They did the whole the Bulls announcer with the music and
Well, I'm
everything.
not gonna lie. I was just gonna talk about that. That I felt like the episode kind of had this weird thing where it tried to connect Caleb to something that I think didn't really have relevance. I didn't think that
Mhm.
made sense. Um, I found it weird, honestly, but it also undermined, in a way, the true pressure that really is on him. It made it seem like,
Mhm.
oh, right, he's with, Nick Saban's there, whatever, pressure, blah, blah, blah. They truly don't understand what these Bears fans and his teammates and his coach and everyone is expecting out of him.
Mhm.
And I think it kind of painted Caleb in a light of like, he's gonna get it done versus like a guys, remember this is a young dude, first year in the league, playing for a team that's had one winning season in almost the last decade. Let's back it up a little bit.
Mhm.
I think the episode kind of did in my opinion, a shitty job of truly representing what it's like to be in Caleb Williams' shoes. And I think that's what they set out to do, but I don't think they truly did it. They did it in sort of like a fairy tale happily ever after type of way, which is good media. It's good TV. I won't lie. It was a great episode. But I truly think if you're really trying to look at it from of what are we going to expect from him this year and how is he feeling, I think they did a poor job at that. But it was still a good episode. I just think they kind of undermined truly what this kid is dealing with, man. He's only a few
Mhm.
years older than me, and he is playing for one of the most storied franchises in the NFL, trying to make something out of what's been nothing for this entire century, except 2006. And I felt like it kind of failed to do that. But other than that, I thought
Yeah.
it was a great episode. I did. I liked
Other than that, it was a great episode.
it. Other
No, but
than the
yeah,
whole premise of the episode.
yeah. So moving forward, I'd like to see a little bit more on defense, like they did. Like I would love to see a lot more DJ Moore. I think he is a personality in and of himself. Like they need to let that show a little bit more. I mean, they did the whole contract signing thing, and he was giving everybody the thumbs up, and it was kind of crazy to see that they actually brought him in the middle of practice. Like, hey, can you send DJ up so he can sign his $110 million
Yeah.
contract? Which is kind of cool and kind of crazy at the same time. But I'm glad they got that done and they showed that. What I thought they were going to show Caleb and Rome signing their rookie contracts, which they did not. Because at the time, I don't know if we talked about it. I'm pretty sure we talked about it that I thought they waited so long to sign, like the first day of training camp, waited till then for the cameras and
Hmm.
for Hard Knocks, but they didn't actually show either one of them.
I don't
Like,
know. Maybe they were planning on it, but then there was some sort of hitch, like, oh, Caleb didn't
yeah,
want him in there.
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 2. Comes out Tuesday. Um,
Yes, it does.
and I wish that they would release a few more, like or release them sooner because I
5
enjoy watching
episodes.
Hard
That's all you
Knocks.
get.
Yeah,
That's all you
that
get.
is, but that's all right because when the fifth one's up, the regular season has begun. Closing out, closing out the podcast, episode 5. We're going into more of our training camp, extended training camp talk. The Bears are hosting the Cincinnati Bengals to a joint practice on the 15th. So that's what? Thursday. So
Yeah,
on
3 days from now.
Thursday, yeah, they host Cincinnati. They're coming in to House Hall for a joint practice. It's kind of cool to see. I know it's good for the players to be able to line up against, opposing uh, opposing players on both sides of the ball. Hopefully, this is a maybe. I hope Caleb gets to chat with Joe Burrow a little bit, right? That's
Mhm.
a former number one overall pick who had high expectations
And
placed upon him,
exceeded them.
and yes, took his team to a Super Bowl that they lost. But
Honestly,
needless to
not on
say,
him, bro. He got sacked 8 times, and he got sacked on the fucking play that was for the game. Like, it's not on him, bro.
no, but yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see him being able to. I'm sure it'll make its way into Hard Knocks if he gets a chance to
For
talk to
sure.
Burrow and to sort of see if Burrow has any insight as to like what he sort of did to calm the expectations and or obviously he played into the expectations and exceeded them and led his team to a Super Bowl. We saw in other joint practices, I don't know who the hell the Lions were playing in a joint practice, but
Yeah. Oh,
they
I think it was
both
Buffalo. I think it was Buffalo.
was it Buffalo
No, no.
or was it San Diego?
I don't know,
I don't
but
know.
what's his face? Whoever Jaden did, who was on LSU, bruh?
Oh, it was the
Give it to us.
Giants, Malik
No, it was the
Neighbors.
Giants because I would say it was Malik
Yes.
Neighbors. Exactly.
Mhm.
That's how I knew because it was Malik Neighbors like shoved some dude after he dropped his catch in the end
Yeah.
zone or some shit, and then they got into a little scuffle.
Yeah, that and Amron St. Brown got into a big scuffle, and both teams got fined 200K. They were like, "Hey," the league stepped in and was like, "Hey, if you guys aren't gonna, you know,
Yeah,
police yourselves, here's a nice little fine."
yeah.
And although 200,000 is not really much for the NFL franchises, it kind of rings
It's it's
toward
it's uh it's about the principle of the matter, as they
correct.
would say.
And so hopefully there isn't any scuffles in the Bears Bengals um, joint practice, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is one, just because of how loud our defense is at Caleb. I can only imagine what it's going to be like
Yeah, against a
for
yeah, someone they might
against
play.
Joe Burrow. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to chirp like
Mhm.
crazy. But yeah, I'm excited to see how Caleb responds to a different defense, different looks from different team, who is going to send everything that they can at him.
Well, exactly, and that's kind of what I was thinking. And it's Caleb is an important piece in terms of getting the reps and whatever, but I'm really more interested to see, what interviews and what clips come out of, other players we have, especially I'm hoping, I don't know if they do this, but I'm hoping they do where it's like the Bears and the Bengals will do it to each other, where it's like the Bears might have their starting defense or their starting offense out, and then the Bengals might have their two or three. And I love to see that in terms of a good rep, like we've been talking about, like Flus has been talking about, elevating and leveling up our game. Because if our twos and threes can get reps against ones of a not just a team, their players, right? Their boys in the locker room that they see in there, and that they dap up, whatever, fucking
Hmm.
real guys on another team that are trying just as hard as they are to get a spot or to keep their spot. That really helps, you elevate your game. And I think this is such a great opportunity.
Hmm.
And I not that the Bears are gonna waste it or they ever would, but I just hope that is something we see. I don't know if that's something that they do, but I'd love to see that. Especially like we're talking, with this O line situation or some of these receivers, who the tight ends, who's going to fill these spots and who can elevate their game to prove that they're fit to be on the team with these kind of expectations. So I agree with you. I'm very excited. If I'm able to see kind of like you were saying, clips of these players where it's not, excuse me, maybe we're not going 100% because that's my boy who I'd have to be, rocking, and I don't want him to get injured to like,
Hmm.
this is their chance to really show off.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be. We'll have more on this coming
Yeah.
for
Hasn't happened. Yeah.
episode 6 when we go over our sort of what's gone on
Pre-game.
during the
Yeah.
week, our pregame leading into Cincinnati. We play on Saturday. Um, so I would expect us to have that episode out probably Friday, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But, but yeah, anything else you want to yap about before we head out?
No, man, nothing in particular other than I don't know that we're looking good, man. We're looking good. I was
I,
pleasantly surprised with this week's game. Just honestly, less about how we played and more about how we approached it. I would say I was
yeah,
pleasantly surprised.
little non-football chat before we go out. This is a PSA to all the car companies. Why the hell is it so hard to change a damn battery these days? Had to change my wife's battery today, and I swear, what normally used to take me about 10 minutes is now taking me 30 to
Why
45
they
minutes.
got they got that shit buried underneath fucking
Man,
everything.
no, it's in a good spot. So she drives a Traverse, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's in a good spot, but they have like, because hers is one of those that stops and like completely shuts off
You could
and then
I fucking bro,
restarts.
every car does that. I fucking hate that
I
shit,
really,
bro.
I
I
not only that, but they don't give you the option to turn it off. But regardless, they have like these
really?
boxes, like control boxes. Yeah, you can't turn hers off for some
Oh,
reason.
I
I don't
can
know
do
if
it
it's
in every
just
car we own. You can turn it off.
not the Chevy damn Traverse. I asked her because
Wow.
I'd say turn that off. But but yeah, so they have like this control box over the what's red negative. Yeah,
Yeah.
the negative
No,
terminal.
no,
Red,
no. Red is positive. Black is neutral.
whatever. They have the big box with all these little like fuses in it that you have to find a way to get out of the way before you can get to the damn battery. So it's like in my car, it took me 10 minutes to do in my Santa Fe, but my wife's Traverse took me 45 minutes today, and the battery weighed like 30 pounds. Hey,
Hey, all I
yo.
gotta say is, bro, I fucking hey, listen, car companies and everything. I fucking hate that stupid auto shut off shit, bro. Who gives a fuck if I'm driving a gasoline car? I really don't give that big of a fuck about the fucking environment. That came out really wrong. Listen, you need to make
Yeah.
it. You need to make it so that you can turn on the function instead of every time I get into my Mercedes, bro. I have to turn it off. Like, why can't it be I have to turn it on if I'm feeling extra conscious that day about like sea turtles or whatever they got going on? Listen, we love the environment here, but we live in Chicago. We're not breathing in the best air all the time. So I've lost a few brain cells over the years. But car companies, fix your
PSA.
cars. We're coming for you. Please
Stop
sponsor
doing
us.
that.
Please sponsor us, GM. We love you. We love Henry Ford. We love them all. So please give us your money.
Product placement. But yeah, that's and I had a nice little trip to California, man.
Yeah, hey, you showed me, man. It was nice. How was have you been to Disneyland before?
I have not. So that was our first time to Disneyland.
Or I meant
Sophia.
sorry, to back up. Have you
Mm,
ever been to Disney World? Is what I meant by that.
yes. So
Well,
we
and
took.
my question is, sorry to cut you off again, but I have to get this out because this is my true question. I'm a
Yes.
fucking asshole. Which one is better in your opinion? Because from what I've heard, people say Disney World is magical and whatever about that, but Disneyland is just like so perfect. It's all good rides, compact in a space that feels like Disney World, but it's not as hectic. What'd you
So
think?
here's what I will say is Disneyland to me was a better experience, simply because it's way smaller,
Mhm.
right? So Disneyland, they have like Disneyland, and then also attached to it is like Disney Adventures or whatever. It's two separate parks, but you can hop back between them both.
Yeah.
But uh, I will say for me, taking the kids to Disneyland was a way better experience than Disney World, just because of the simple fact the weather is better,
Mm.
and and Disney World is like twice the size with twice the amount of damn people. Disneyland was super easy to park. The trams were way faster. We got to the park faster. It stayed open till midnight.
Mm.
Um, it was we were able to do basically see the whole park. We didn't go on every ride, um, but we got to use our fast pass, which you had to pay extra for. But we got to use our fast pass for the good rides. And funny story leading into, we rode probably the best roller coaster there, which is called the Incredicoaster, which is basically the Incredibles, and you're chasing Dash. But we snuck. We didn't sneak because she was tall enough, but we didn't tell Sophia, my daughter, that she was actually going to ride a roller coaster.
Oh, jeez.
So she got in. She was a little scared when she actually saw the cart pull up, and she was like, "Wait, I actually have to get in this thing? Like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
are we doing?" Um, and by that time, the bar had pulled over. Her first roller coaster was the Incredicoaster that did a full loop. Was fast. It was probably
Was it outside? Like
It
all
is
it was okay. Okay.
one of the smoothest roller coasters I've ever been on, and probably one of the best. But yeah, so after that, like every ride to her was nothing
Yeah.
because we put her on the hardest one. Although she did freak out for every other one of them, but because we kind of snuck her into there and not mentioned it, the boys had a blast, obviously. But yeah, Disneyland by far way better.
Yeah, I went to Disney World when I was 10. I went for a
Mhm.
baseball team or whatever. I like.
The worldwide ESPN Worldwide of
Yeah, dude,
Sports.
it's beautiful there. It is beautiful there. It truly is. I wish I would have went when I was like 2 years older because when I was younger, it
Mm,
was still really nice facilities, but it was on like fields in the back, just like a complex that they had. But if you
yeah.
were like 13 or up, you got to play on the Atlanta Braves spring training field.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so, but I only got to watch games from there. I didn't get to play, but yeah, I've never been to Land, but I have been to World, and it was fun. To be a kid again, man. I mean, I know I'm still, people that watch this might scoff that I'm still pretty young, but I'm not 10 no more.
No, yeah, Disneyland 100% better than Disney World. I said it. If you got a problem, let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's our sort of we
That's
digress,
our
but
we digress.
that
Something
is
about I don't know. Bears good, cars battery locations bad. Auto start, get rid of that shit. Disney World is better than Disneyland.
No, Disneyland's better than Disney World.
Disney World's better than Disneyland. Okay, confirmed. Episode 4, we
5.
episode 5, we did it. Episode 5, we did it. We'll catch you in the next one.
For Steve, aka Bronx.
And Matt, aka Nemo, thank you all for stopping
Thank you.
by again. We'll catch you in the next one.
That's it.